Gold smashed its previous all-time high, and the trillion-dollar question is, what will Bitcoin do next, and what does the past tell us? Well, let me go ahead and front-run that answer. It pumps every single time. Now, before we get into Bitcoin and gold, I want to give historical perspective on gold, because what it's done since 1971, from when our dollars were backed by gold to what it's done today, is just truly incredible. Gold hit all-time highs, if you weren't aware, but it is now 100 times the $35 it was in 1971 when Richard Nixon closed the gold window. And so it was $35 in 1971, and now it's $3,500 in 2025. And the thing is, the metal itself hasn't changed. It's still the same atomic number. It's still the same that it was thousands of years ago. What has changed is the dollar. Once it was tied to gold, now it floats. Now it's just printed. Now it's weakened by inflation and endless deficits. That's why it takes over 100x more dollars to buy that same ounce of that precious metal. And now with gold hitting a new all-time high, we're going to go into the charts and we're going to look at the Bitcoin correlation. Now a lot more people are talking about the Bitcoin correlation. So Bitcoin's split personality on display as gold hits a new record. So we saw one or two red candles and the same one or two all-time record closes for gold. Is that something to worry about? Now, the price of gold hit an all-time high after Trump commented on inflation, but Bitcoin moving in the opposite direction. Over the past 2.5 years, there has been a strong correlation between gold, Bitcoin, and the NASDAQ, with all of them ripping higher. Now, there is a little lag for Bitcoin, and we're going to go over some of this. Now, meanwhile, historical data shows Bitcoin price rallies within 150 days of gold hitting new all-time highs. But I think this correlation of 150 days is going to narrow, and that's because the correlation of Bitcoin being digital gold and gold becoming more and more digital is slowly lessening here. Tokenized gold market is now above 2.5 billion as the precious metal nears record highs. There's a lot of synthesized gold on chain, backed by real gold, but you can trade online as a crypto token. There is more and more demand for this than there's ever been. And so as people see Bitcoin as digital gold and people trade digital gold, literally digital gold, I think more and more people are just going to kind of start making that shift like, okay, Bitcoin is digital gold and gold can be digital as well. But now let's go into the data. Let's go into the charts here. So we're going to look at 5 different events with gold. So we're going to look at the 2020 high, which broke, it took a long time, hit a new all-time high September 2011. Bitcoin was so new, so we're going to kind of ignore this data. Gold would basically trade down or sideways for a long time. This would be 3,200 days later. So you're almost looking, it's about 10 years. This is a 9-year gap. So it took gold 9 years for it to hit a new all-time high. And we're going to look at 5 instances past this period. So we're going to look at when it hit a new all-time high, starting with this day right here, gold's 2020 high. Then we're going to see that, gold took a long time, took several attempts before it broke through. 4 years later, gold hit a 2024 high. Again, we'll look at this with Bitcoin. We'll also look at the September 24 breakout for gold, what it did to Bitcoin. We'll look at the April 25 breakout for Bitcoin, and then we'll kind of see where we're at today with this recent September 2025 breakout for gold. So I know that's a lot, but we're just essentially going to look at these 5 events and its impact on Bitcoin. So let's go ahead and rewind all the way to gold hitting a high in 2020. Now, if you look at the daily candle, this is going to happen on the 27th of July in 2020. What we're going to do is we're going to circle every single weekly candle to see where these daily candles fall in line. This is Bitcoin's weekly chart on a log scale. Now, when gold hit a new all-time high, Bitcoin did follow, but there was a little bit of return. There was a little bit of a pullback, some profit taking. Then Bitcoin would just rip higher and higher, and you could kind of see the pump right there. Insane generational run. Bitcoin would pump 600% in less than a year. So after gold hit an all-time high in 2020, Bitcoin went on a huge run. All right, let's go to the next event. Now, like we said, it took 4 years, but gold, after getting rejected a couple times, did break through and it hit a new high in 2024. And this daily candle is the 1st of March. Now, when we go to Bitcoin and we circle the first weekly candle for March, you can see Bitcoin getting out of a bear market. But what's important here for the 2024 breakout, that's shortly after when Bitcoin would hit a new all-time high. That's the previous high, November 2021. And then you can see Bitcoin, literally the next weekly candle, wicked into all-time high. The week after that, new all-time high, a little bit of return, but then, it flirted with prices it had never seen before. So gold hit a new all-time high in 2024, but so did Bitcoin. Let's go to the next gold big major event, September 2024 breakout. Now this would take a long time. This started in April. We also got rejected in May, got rejected in July, bounced all along in August, and then finally broke through in September. This is September 12th, 2024. Going back to Bitcoin and looking at the September breakout, this is the September 12th weekly candle right here. Bitcoin would then take a little bit of time, but then it would hit a new all-time high. It would do it about 56 days later. So yet again, you see gold leading the rally and then Bitcoin following. Let's go to the next, and that's going to be April breakout. Now, this also took a while. We got rejected around here, rejected around there, a little fake breakout. And then on April 10th, 2025, gold would then break out and continue hitting new all-time highs. If we go to that April breakout right here, this is the April 10th weekly candle right there. Huge run for Bitcoin. In fact, it would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green Heikin Ashi weekly candles in a row. And now let's go to the latest event. That's going to be the September breakout. And honestly, gold is acting so bullish here. I wouldn't be surprised if, this breakout puts us potential $4,000 gold ounce. And now if you look at Bitcoin, we are bouncing off of this trend line here, the trend line we established all the way back in May 2025, knocked against it. We go to the daily, you can see a lot more confluence here. This might be the spring for Bitcoin. I would not be fading Bitcoin here. We had a lot of indications saying 108 was going to have a lot of strong support. You throw all those in, you throw in gold breaking out, I would not be betting against Bitcoin at this point. So this is kind of what Bitcoin does in relation to gold. I hope some of this helped. And if you got that family member who just is so convinced gold is superior to Bitcoin, Bitcoin's not backed by anything, I would show them this chart right here. This is the amount of ounces each Bitcoin can net you. So you can see early days, it couldn't even compete with 1 ounce. But then after 1 Bitcoin was worth 1 ounce of gold, it just kept reversing, and it seems like there's no turning around. There's no reverse in this chart. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle. I think Bitcoin is going to be worth more and more relative to gold, and I think we might be breaking out to the upside again. So that's my video for gold versus Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin's next move? I'm DZ, and hopefully I'll see you and your gold chains or your Bitcoin at the top.